my name is Huai. Well, today I won't be talking about different types of questions in English. Well, in English, there are two main kinds of questions called yes/no questions. There are questions that we answer by yes or no, and WH questions. Well, what are they? What are they used for? And how can we understand and know which kinds of questions is yes/no questions or WH questions? Let's go and see the way how to know it. Okay, so let's go to our WH questions first. Now, here we have is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 kinds of WH questions. I will read it aloud, okay? Okay, so let's try to discover those 7 types of WH questions. First, we have is what. We have an example questions of the word what, like what kind of music do you like? The word what can be added to some other words to make some other kinds of WH questions words. Yes, like what time? We'll see that part next. So, what can be asked for a lot of kinds of things. We can't just ask them about music, but we can add them enough kinds of questions, like what kind of pencils do you like? What kind of ice cream do you like? What subjects do you like the best? Yes, there's a lot of kinds of questions that start with the word what. And what is used to ask about nearly lots of things around us. Next we have is the word where. Now let me ask you a questions, and going on that, can you tell me the meaning of that word? Yes, were. We have the word where. Where were you born? So in these questions, the word where here means what place, right? Yes, so the word where in all kinds of questions means place. It used to talk about the place, right? Now if I say, where is his house? I can know that, okay, that person is asking about maybe some of my friend's house. I would know the way to answer it by locations. Yes, next is when. We have is when do you have an English class? Well, the word when used to ask time. It used to ask time for nearly all questions. Kind of like now if I ask, when do the train start? When do the train start? I can know that, okay, that person is asking. When will the train start to go? When will the trains leave the stations? I would know the answers them, right? Well, another word to ask about time that start with the word what is what time. People don't always use the word what time because they usually would use when for more. But sometimes there's also some people that use the word what time. Well, what time? Here we have an example questions. What time do you go to school? This means that, okay, when do you go to school? What time and when have nearly the same meanings, so that you can understand them both. Next is why. Why is a questions word that we use to ask questions, to ask a reason of something. Why do you like cats here means the reason. Can you tell me the reason why you like cats? Now can I say, why do you love the subject math? Can you answer me the reason? Yes. Next we have is which. Which is a word used to ask kinds of things. How about now if I had 2 pieces of paper, right? Now I'll ask you maybe which piece of paper is yours. So now if this is my paper, I'll say, okay, this is my paper and this wasn't mine. So that is the way that we use the word which. Like now we have the word which dog is yours. That means okay, there's maybe 2 or 3 dogs. Then we need to answer which dog is or yes. And the last kind of questions word here we have is who. Who is she? Who is a word to ask about a person. Yes, like we have the word who she is here. The questions who she is here means who is that girl? What person is that girl? Yes. So now let's go through the yes/no questions. Now let's go through the yes/no questions. Yes/no questions was a kind of questions that always have the answers that includes yes or no. Let's look at some examples. Here we have is a structure of the first kind of yes/no questions. We have is can plus subject like I, she, he, we, they, you, plus verb, a verb like dance, read, play. Yes, those are verbs. So we have a sentence here. Can you swim? Now, the way to answer yes/no questions is kind of like always have one structures. Is yes or no plus the part that we use to answer. Like yes, it is for another kind of questions. Yes, I can. For can questions, we always say yes or no plus the subject that the person is asking. Like if they asking me, I'll say yes, I can. I'll say can if I can swim, but I will say can't if I can't swim. Okay? Next is to be questions. We have 2 kinds. Is present to be and I forgot here. Past to be. So we have here is the present to be. We have is, are, or is, are, the to be word, plus subjects, plus some kinds of things after that. Like we have a sentence. Are you okay? Are you okay? We used to ask, okay, are you okay? What's the matter to you? You feel kind of like you're tired. Yes. Next we have here is was, were, plus subjects, plus something else. This is used to talk about the past, like were you born in July? Were you born in July? Maybe if you were born in July, you say, yes, I was. Or, yes, she was if they're asking about another person. Yes. And the last one, do plus do or does plus subject plus verb. Like we have the word. Like we have the sentence. Do you like apples? Do you like apples? Maybe you do. Maybe you don't. Yeah, I like apples here. So I'll say, yes, I do. Or if they're asking, does she like apples? I'll say, okay, no, she doesn't. Yes. The last kinds of questions that we have is how. How is usually being asked with a verb before it and after it, like how old, how much, how tall, how big, how many, how long, and how often. Like how old is used to add about an age about a person, an age of a person. Like how old is your sister? How old is your father? Next we have is how much. How much is used to ask prices or how much is something. Much is is a word that you remember. It's used for uncountable nouns, right? Like, how much is that t-shirt? Or how much sugar do we need? Yes. Next is how tall. How tall is James? How tall is you? How tall are you? How tall am I? Yes. How big is like, how big is your house? Or how big is your school? How big is that garden? How many is a word that used to add just kind of like much, but it's used for countable nouns. Like, how many pens do you have? How many? How many pieces of cake do we need for 5 persons? We can say so for uncountable nouns in questions. Okay? Next one we have is how long. How long is that? How like, now I have a pen. How long is this pen? So I would measure it maybe 15 centimeters. So say, okay, it's 15 centimeters. How often? How often is used to ask. How often do you do something like? I always, I usually, sometimes, never, rarely, often, yes. So see, those are all kinds of basic kinds of questions in English. And I bet all of you have known this before or have heard about those before. So now you have known the structures of them, some kinds of examples questions about them, and also some examples of them. So now you understand more of them, right? You should go and practice some more with them. Now I have problems with you. I have a problems for you. Now use some kinds of words here. Like in WH questions, choose 1 to 2 words. How questions, use 1 to 2 words. Yes or no questions, use 1 to 2 kinds of structures. Ask some kinds of questions and answer by yourself. See if you can do that. If you can, then congratulations. You really does understand these. See you next time.